We are learning the first Sikhe on Parshas Vayechi in Chelek on page 228. The shir today is being learned Lil Nishmas Rabbi ben Yamin ben Rabbi Menashe Koltman. Oifem Pasik Vayikra Yaakov al Bonov Vayeme ha'osvu va'agidol lachem es asher yikra eschem va'achris hayamim. Yaakov Avinu, before he passes away, calls his children and says, "Gather, and I will tell you what will happen in the end of days." Zogn Chazal. So it says on this in the Gemara, Bikish Yaakov legalis levon of Ketz hayamin. Yaakov Avinu wanted to reveal to his children what will be the end of time. V'nistalkem imenu shchina. But the shchina was removed of him and he couldn't tell them this information. So the Ketz hayamin means he wanted to reveal to them when the final Geula will come, when Mashiach will come and redeem us from Galus. And the Eibusha didn't allow him to reveal this. It's Tamua, so it's very difficult to understand what this means. Es ist doch sicher, als mit seinem Wellen zum Megal sein dem Ketz, it's obvious that with this that Yaakov Avinu wanted to reveal when the Gula, the time of the Gula is Yaakov given Oisin, nit stam beweisen as weis dem Ketz. The point over here wasn't simply Yaakov to show the fact that he has this information. Nor atayelos for the Shvatim. Obviously, this is for the benefit of the Shvatim. Other for the Yidden Achreim, or also for the Yidden in generations following. So the question then is, was for atayelos wollten Yidden gehad von dem, was man wollte dem wollte Megal given dem Ketz? What benefit is there by revealing to Yidden at that time period the Ketz? So this is a question for itself that we need to understand what Bechlal is there at Tayelis of knowing when the time of the Ketz is. Now the question goes even further on the contrary. When Yaakov wollte Megal given dem Ketz, if Yaakov would reveal the Yidden the end of time, was das wird erst sein mit viele tausende Jahren später, wie man sitzt there, as Adayin Leba, if Yaakov reveals the Ketz to the Yidden at that time, to the Shvatim, which is with many thousands of years later, as we see now that Mashiach has not yet come, wollte es nicht nur gebracht kein Teyeles, not only would this not bring any benefit at that time, no Adarabba, on the contrary, das wird gepeilt bei Yidden am Meiredige Zerbrochenkeit und Miches Ruach. What this would cause is for Yidden to be tremendously broken, and their spirits would be low and would fall based on this information. How long the time of the arrival of Mashiach, of the Ketz, would be. So what is the benefit of all this, of revealing the Ketz? And especially if it's for such a long, thousands and thousands of years that we still have to wait for Mashiach. So the commentaries address this, and the answer as follows. As Yaakov hat dem Ketz gewollt megala sein no lebonov. Yaakov Avinu's desire was to reveal the Ketz to his children. Shetzadikim hayu, his children are tzadikim, ubatuach behem, and he was confident in them. Sha'afa pishu hu haketz la'oirich yamim lo yeshuvu me'achri Hashem. Even though he's telling them about the Ketz, which will be a long time later, but nevertheless, this is not going to cause them to turn away from Hashem. Aber euch das hat der Eibusha nicht gewollt. This as well the Eibusha did not want. Why not? Kedei shelo yivada lebam achareim, so that the information shouldn't come out to the following generations, and then verabim yisyashu, and there will be many that will give up, because yedu shul yitim lechaykim, knowing that the time of the Ketz is in such a long time. So that's what happened over here. So Yaakov Avinu did not want to reveal the Ketz just to anybody. It's to his children, to the great tzaddikim. Aber der teretz is nicht glattig. This answer is not a good answer. Aleph, one reason is the chshash, when yivada lebayim achreim, this concern that it may become known to generations following, ob Yaakov will megala given them Ketz to alle 12 zin. If Yaakov is megala the Ketz to all of the 12 shvatim, is azach was moving garbe pashtus, is something which is very simple to understand. When you share information with one, with another, especially with 12, the information gets out further. So why did Yaakov not realize this, and what was he thinking when he did have a desire to reveal the Ketz to his children, and only the Eibusha prevented him of this? Beis, another question here is ve'ikir, another main point here. The mit wird nicht verämpft the Ikke Shaila. This doesn't answer the first and main question here. Was war a Teve v'Teyeles, what the Gilead Ketz gehat, gekent peil sein bei Bonov. What good, what benefit would revealing the time of the cats be by revealing this to his children? Was the far bikish Yaakov legalis Levanov Ketz Yaman, and therefore Yaakov desired to reveal the cats to his children. So this question is not yet answered. Additionally, we have to understand regarding the subject. In Chazal Gefinim Mitzvah Deis, we find in Chazal two opinions about what exactly happened when Yaakov did not reveal the cats. Aleph, one is that cats is Nisalim geworden euch von Yaakovin. That this cats, even Yaakov himself, Hashem concealed it from him, so he himself didn't know and couldn't reveal it. Wie steht in Medrash, this is the language that we see in the Medrash, by Abal Legalis Le'emes HaKetz, v'niskasa mimeno. He came to reveal the cats to his children, and it was concealed from him. Al derech steht in Medrash v'tchilas hasedre, bikesh chulu v'nista mimeno. In the beginning of the Sedre, it also addresses, and there it says, v'nista mimeno, that it was concealed, hidden from Yaakov himself. But then, there's another opinion on this that we see in the Lashon of Chazal. Von Yaakovin is a nitniskasa geworden. The cats was not covered, not hidden from Yaakov himself. However, the Eibusher prevented him of revealing it, and he couldn't reveal it to his children. This second opinion is the understanding of the precise words the Gemara chooses when it says this point, Bikish Yaakov legalas chulu, and then what happened? The Gemara says, the Shechina was removed from him. Nit stam v'nestalik mimeno. Doesn't just simply say that it was removed from him, which would then be referring to haketz. The ketz which it just speaks about was removed from him. Because according to the Gemara's opinion, the ketz itself was not concealed from Yaakov himself, rather the Shechina was removed from him. It says, Blois nestalik geworden von ihm the Shechina, hat gesehen, as me will nit gilia ketz, hat nit megal gewen. That was a sign to him that the Eibusher doesn't want him to reveal the cats, so he didn't reveal it. Or we can explain this expression of Nistalkim Mimenu Shechina a bit differently. Shechina is from Lashon v'shachanti b'soichem. The term Shechina means when Hashem dwells amongst them, meaning when the Shechina comes down, is revealed, is expressed. This says the koyach tzekenen mashkin umamshich zayin gilia ketz lamato levanav. In this context, it refers to the power to reveal and share and bring down the information of the cats to his children. And that ability was removed from him, to bring it down, to share. But for himself, Yaakov Avinu had the gili of the cats even while he couldn't share. So now based on this, what we need to understand is as follows. It's understood according to both opinions. Can the Eibusher uphalten Yaakov from Megalas and Ketz Levanov, that is, Afila Oib Yaakov Veistem Ketz. The Eibusher could prevent Yaakov of revealing the cats to his children, even if Yaakov himself will know the cats. Is my time was the erste, was like the day Arishayna is geworden the shinui, the cats is nisting geworden from Yaakov. If so, why, according to the first opinion, was it necessary to have this change here, that Yaakov himself, that already knew the cats, the Eibusher concealed it even from him himself? What's the point of taking away this gilu that Yaakov Avinu had and knew? So here, the Rabbi brings out in Siv Gimel the conclusion of all of this. What do we understand from what happened that Yaakov knew the cats, he had a desire to share it, and the Eibusher doesn't allow him to share it, or even conceals it from Yaakov himself? Kol analysis move on. The point that we understand from all of this is as follows. As beidai fanim, both of these approaches, megala zayin, whether to reveal the cats, or the nitzim megala zayin the cats, or not to reveal. Kanen brengen atayelis fayidin ba'vedosam aruchnius. Either way, there's a possibility that it will bring a benefit for Yidden and their Aveda. If Yaakov desired it, it must be that there was a benefit in this. And the Eibusher prevents him, there has to be a reason for that as well. Und noch mehr, furthermore, Bibalt is Yaakov is eine von the Yavis. Yaakov, one of the Yavis, Shehein, Hein, Amrakove, as Alter Rebbe brings in Tanya, the expression regarding the Yavis, that they are a chariot for Hashem. Their entire life is completely bottled like a chariot to its rider, are completely bottled to the will of Hashem all their life. Is muchrach to sagen, if so we must say, as das was bikish Yaakov legalas chulu, the fact that Yaakov desires to reveal the cats, bis to the rega, venestalka mimenu shchina, that desire till the moment when the Eibusher removes shchina from him, is given behesem zum ratzon elyon. This is fitting with what the Eibusher wants. So welche Yaakov is given on Rakova oich damos, to which Yaakov was a Merkava completely bottled at that moment when he had this desire. This desire was an expression and a desire out of his bittul to the Eibishter. The fact that later, in actuality, Hashem did not allow Yaakov to reveal the Ketz, is weil in jenem Matzev hat sich gefordert im Eufen Hanhage und the Yeles kommt von dem as the Ketz soll nicht misgale werden. Because at that moment, what was necessary was that the Ketz should not be revealed, because that's going to bring a certain Teyeles by concealing it, more than revealing it. Und dabei ist eine voran zwei Days. And here are the two opinions in the Medrash and the Gemara, what happened at that point. According to one opinion, this benefit of not knowing the Ketz, it was important that this should be by Yaakov himself. And therefore it's concealed from him himself. Hashem is not just simply taking away the information from him in order that he shouldn't be able to share it. There's a certain maila in not knowing the Ketz. And that maila, that benefit, has to be experienced by Yaakov himself. Like the zweite Deye is das aninje was is negeya, gewenne geya, blois zu the Shvatim. This advantage of not knowing the Ketz is something which is relevant only for the Avodah of the Shvatim. Und the far is von Yaakov and allein nit niskase geworden the Ketz, and therefore from Yaakov himself the Ketz was not concealed. That's the point of the way we have to approach and understand this subject here. There has to be a benefit in both revealing and concealing the Ketz, and everything it has to be explained exactly what is the mila of revealing and what's the mila of concealing the Ketz. We can say the explanation of the Sinyan as follows. So first, the Rabbi will explain what is the mila of why Yaakov desired to reveal the Ketz. Apidrashus Razal, according to what it says in the Zohar, ala pasek tiviyemoi v'sitaemoi. Bahana chaloscha machal l'shivtcha palta Hashem. In the Shira, the Yidden said that Yidden will be going to be brought and are going to be planted in Eretz Yisrael. The Beis Hamikdash will be built. And from this, the Zohar learns out, as ilu zachu, if Yidden would have merited, wollte der Eibishter schon dann, beis Yitzias Mitzrayim, gebracht the Yidden in the Machin l'chshivtecha palta Hashem. Then the Eibishter would have brought Yidden then to Eretz Yisrael and would have built the Beis Hamikdash, and this would be a building of a Beis Hamikdash that the Eibishter builds. Was in Binyana de Kodesh Berichu, if the Eibishter would have built the Beis Hamikdash, is Nitshayach and Churban v'Galus. It's impossible for there to be any destruction or any exile. Aber Meila, weil die Gula von Galus Mitzrayim gewähren euch, die Gula mittes war schleima shenachre Galus. And then that Gula from Mitzrayim would have been the final redemption with no following exile. So according to this Zohar, comes out as the Ketz in dem Eufen wie is gestanden in jenem Zman, ilu zachu. So the Ketz that we're talking about it, that Yaakov wanted to reveal the end of time, when the Gula comes. How was it at that time? Is given bisman for Yitzias Mitzrayim. The Ketz is the time of Yitzias Mitzrayim, which is not thousands of years off. So this could explain why Yaakov desired to reveal the Ketz to his children. As had gewollt megala sein, dem Ketz wie es gewend demelt. He wanted to reveal the Ketz as it was at that time period. The Zman for Yitzias Mitzrayim, which is the time when you didn't leave Mitzrayim. So therefore, since it's not so far off, so this is something that has a benefit to it. As we'll see soon, the Rebbe will explain more what exactly the benefit of this is. Hunaf alpi as the Zman from Yitzias Mitzrayim is given as Zman kavua v'yedua. But if we're going to say that at that time period, the Ketz refers to the time of Yitzias Mitzrayim, but that's something that seemingly Yaakov doesn't have to reveal. That's something which was already a known and established fixed date. Der Rebbe hat maftiach given Avram ki ger years aracha beretz lo ilahem geime 400 years and wachir ken yetzel geime, and then they'll leave. Is was hat Yaakov gedacht megale sein? What more is Yaakov here coming to reveal? Is yeshleima, but we can say about this as follows: the Yidden haben gewusst as noch die Arba meishana wollen sie reisgen from Mitzrayim. What they knew based on what the Eibishter said at the time of Bris Ben Absarim is that after 400 years they're going to leave Mitzrayim. Aber nicht, as das wird sein, ilu zachu, a gula nitzchish enachre galus. But what they didn't know is that it's possible that if they'll have the right to the merits for this, then this will be the final redemption without any exile following. Und das hat Yaakov gewollt megala sein. And this is the information that Yaakov wanted to share with his Shvatim, with his children, with the following generations, that they should serve the Eibishter and they should make sure that this should be the following redemption. Yitzias Mitzrayim is the Ketz. that the date that they know of, Yetzias Mitzrayim, that is actually the final redemption. Und damit ist verstandig, Yaakov's Kavanah by Vel Megalas and Levon of them Ketz. So with this we understand what Yaakov's intention is and what's the benefit here by revealing the Ketz to his children. When they will hear and the Besura Teve, when they'll hear the good news, as their Ketz Hayomin is gone not, that the end of times is very close. Wenn sie sich bestadel sein zu verbleiben in a Matze von Zochel, they'll make an effort to remain in this condition of to be Zeiche, sein Gehit bis Hiris Yisere, as es soll nicht sein, kein Inyo von Shem Yigram Achet. They should be extra careful that they shouldn't Chas v'Shalom be in a situation where there is an Aveda that will cause, was soll Geirim sein, as the Ketz soll sich verhalten Chas v'Shalom, that may cause that this Ketz should be held up. So Yaakov was sharing for them the great opportunity they have here, the Ketz of Yetzias Mitzrayim, that this could be the final Ketz. So this is a great encouragement for Yidden to wait and hope for that time and to be careful that they should taka be zeicha, that this should be the final Ketz. That was the intention of the Bikish Yaakov Legalas HaKetz. The beer is aber nicht maspik. This explanation, though, is not yet sufficient. Why? Be'ez that the stalkus von Yaakov Avinu is given noch harum 200 Jahr bis Yetzias Mitzrayim. At this time, when Yaakov wants to reveal the Ketz, when he's about to pass away, there's still about 200 years left to the time of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Azoi as by the Bnei Yisrael von Yenem Dor, which means that the Yidden alive in that time, volt the Gilead Ketz gerufen Atzvos v'chulu. For them themselves, it wouldn't encourage them in any way. Adarabah, for them, it would just cause them to be depressed that we're not going to be redeemed. A person lives to the amount of 120 years. So either way, they're not going to be zeicha to the Ketz in their lifetime. So it brings back the original question, revealing the Ketz for his children, for the Yidden alive then, what benefit, what encouragement is it giving them? Adarabah, they'll be demoralized by finding out that the Ketz is going to be a few generations later, about 200 years later. So therefore what we can say, to add to the previous point, is as follows. As Kavon as Yaakov is given, Yaakov's intention was as follows. When Yidden wollen beim Gilead Ketz wissen, as es ist totally in Zochel Kanal, what Yaakov Avinu is really sharing with Yidden is the date that they know of, the date of Yetzias Mitzrayim, that it's totally in them. Yaakov is going to share with them that if you're going to be Zeiche, you can make this the final Geula. So this information that Yaakov is sharing is also, weil sie meisav sein in their Zochel Avodas Hashem. So this will cause Yidden to be very encouraged to add more Zchusim, to be sure that this should be the final Ketz. And then what Yaakov is sharing with them is even more so that the Yesofa Makdim sein the Gula. Adding more Zchusim could even bring the Gula earlier. As he zal kommen noch far the bestimmten Ketz, that it should come even before the set time. Al derech ma'im chazal, as it says regarding the Gula, Zochu achishena. That if we're Zeiche, then the Gula comes, even the Gula that is comes even quicker before the set time. And that's the information that Yaakov wanted to share. So again, they had a fixed date, they knew Abba Me'eshana, but yet Yaakov wanted to share with them that this could be the final Gula, and they shouldn't mess it up. And Yidden will be going. So there's a few points here. Number one, that they shouldn't mess it up, and then the time of the Gula may be delayed. And then if they'll be Zeiche, it won't be delayed. And then not only that, if they'll be Zeiche, this will be the final Gula. And not only that, if they'll be Zeiche, they could actually be mocked in the Gula. It'll come earlier. That's what Yaakov wanted to share with them, to give them this tremendous encouragement to be Zeiche. And we actually find this regarding Yetzias Mitzrayim itself. Any from the time was Golas Mitzrayim had gedauert nor Redu Shana. One of the reasons why Golas Mitzrayim actually didn't last 400 years literally in the Mitzrayim, but it was Redu, in the Lashon of the Pasuk Redu Shana, 210 years. Not the 400 years as set by the Bris Ben Absadim. Is weil der Koishi Ashibot at Mashal given the minion. It's because the fact that Yidden were enslaved in hard, difficult labor, which is such a terrible shibud, that made up for the amount of time of Funabra Meishana, 400 years. So that's regarding the reason that it says why they came out earlier. So let's move on from this. It's understood as Geshem Videi Safin Shibud, Koishi Shibud. The fact that they worked harder and they had such a difficult gullus that caused the gula to come earlier. Similar, we can say, and actually, how much more so we can say. The This could be accomplished by the Yidden's merits, and the positive that definitely this has the power to bring the Gula earlier. And this is what Yaakov Avinu wanted to share his children, this information. They should know this and they should be encouraged to be Zoiche. So now we understand what Yaakov Avinu's intention was and what he's accomplishing. So now we need to understand, so why is it that Eibishter does not allow Yaakov Avinu to share this? Afal Pikein is Nistalkom Yimenu Shechina. But yet, the Shechina is removed and Yaakov did not share this information. And nit the lust as Yaakov's Magal and them Ketz and didn't allow Yaakov to reveal the Ketz. Is the Bir Bezeh. So the explanation, what is the Tayelis, what is the benefit of withholding this information from Yidden? The Shleimus B'Havodas Adam. It's because what is the ultimate Shleimus, the ultimate perfection in the way a person serves Hashem? When a person actually comes to the point that he's really Zoiche, that his Avodas Hashem is done properly, thoroughly, is when the Avodah is Malach Tocha Shatasa, when it's your work that you are doing. And this is also similar to the expression that the Gemara says, a person would rather have a measure of one kav rather than having 9 from someone else that someone else gives him. He wants something that he earns on his own. Now, you may ask, so here, the point that the Rebbe is saying is that if they would get this tremendous, unusual encouragement from having this information from Yaakov, and they would hold on to that information, and that would be the whole reason of why they're going further, and with another schus, and greater, and further, so then it wouldn't be Kav Shalai. They would be riding on this inspiration that comes from the Gilead Ketz from Yaakov, not their own Avodah that came from their own motivation from below. Now you may ask, as Bayed Avodah muz menankum in Susiyat D'Shmaya, for any Avodah that a person does, you always need an assistance from heaven. If you don't have the assistance from above, then a person can't do it on his own. So how can we say that the main zechus of the Yid is, when do you have a real zechus? When it's yours, when it comes from the person below without any inspiration from above, in this case from the Gilead Ketz of Yaakov Avinu. However, definitely you need the assistance from above, but this could come in one of two ways. Aleph, the siyua and ezem u'maila is nirgish beim adam ha'ovid b'shas and in sein aveda. When the assistance that comes from above is there and is felt and is experienced and is present in every step of his aveda. Uladugma, an example for this, Avedis Hashem in these manim von Eis Ratzon. In time periods, very auspicious times when there's an Eis Ratzon and a person feels and he's inspired, he's in a higher level and he's serving Hashem then. Says he made shuvah. When the Eibishter is b'motze b'yisekarev, in the time of Asayis made Shuvah, when the Eibishter is near and he's close and he's accessible, or the b'Shabbos v'yomtiv b'chlal, or a Shabbos and a yomtiv, any holy day where a Yid feels closer and more inspired in his Avodas Hashem. So this is not just an assistance from above, but this is actually an Avodah this is an assistance which changes the nature of the entire Avodah, where the Avodah that's being done is riding on this inspiration from above. But then the assistance of above could affect the person in a different way. Yes, there is an inspiration that comes from above, which then inspires or helps the person for what he is going to do later on his own. While the person is involved in his Avodas Hashem, is there siyua behelim. This assistance from above then is not the main focus. Now he's feeling that it's him that has to motivate himself and do this. That the Avodah itself can be attributed to the person himself. It's he that's toiling and working on this. And what's an example for this? By dimension. The various different baskails, the voices from heaven that come out every day, that Chazal tell us about, and we don't necessarily literally hear it and experience it every day, but they are voices that come from heaven and inspire a person in a concealed manner. It gives a person thoughts of tshuva. And the effect of them are, as the nach is ermoisiv b'teira avodah, that following this, now the person himself has to motivate himself to utilize this inspiration and then on his own work on doing what the Eibishter wants and serving Hashem in Teira and Avodah. That's a different kind of approach here. So yes, of course you have the assistance from above, but yet the actual Avodah is the person's. Und das ist der Tam, was Nestalka mimene Shechina. So this is the reason why The Gemara tells us the expression that what happened here is when Yaakov wanted to reveal the cats to inspire and encourage his children, but the Eibishter took away, the Shechina didn't allow him to. When Yaakov magalig when them cats lebon, if Yaakov would reveal the cats to his children, wollte sehr hisafe ba'avedes Hashem durch dem Gilead cats zu versichern, als sie sollen stehen in Amatze von noch mehr Sachen, nicht gewähnt kaf shaloi sehr anoifto. So by Yaakov sharing this information, and this then would inspire and encourage Yidden and bring them to a higher level, a completely different level, a different attitude of Zachu, to add even more in their Avedis Hashem, to be able to be Zeicha, to be Maktim the Ketz. They would be motivated to go on a completely different level of Avedis Hashem, to bring the Ketz even earlier, to get themselves out of Mitzrayim. If Yidden are found in such a dire situation, and they know that they have the key in their hands, that they can be Maktim the Ketz, this would put them on a completely different frame of mind to be Maktim the Ketz. So then, this kind of Aveda would not be their own. It wouldn't be something that they are motivated and working themselves in the place where they are naturally to come and be motivated to serve the Eibishter. And then volt gewen reingemischt der Esamel Maila the Gilead Ketz. So whatever Aveda they would have done, of course you can't say it would be completely from above, from the inspiration of Yaakov, but it would be their Aveda. But yet, this would be very much and very strongly influenced by the assistance and the encouragement that comes from Yaakov. The Rebbe is nistalka mimenu shchina. So therefore, the Gemara says nistalka mimenu shchina, but the Eibishter removed shchina, didn't allow Yaakov to reveal the Ketz, b'chdei, as the Avodah von Yidden, so sein in a matzah von silika shchina, that the Yidden should serve the Eibishter even when this revelation, this encouragement is concealed from them, on helam haketz, this to the end of time, that they could get themselves out of it quicker, that is concealed from them, is ubemele zi b'koyach atzma. So here then, when the Yidden come and serve the Eibishter, regard, even though they're in such a hard times, and it's so dark, and they're still holding on and serving the Eibishter, so this is a kind of Aveda that comes from on their own, from below. This Aveda is attributed much more to them, b'koyach atzma. Now, Yaakov had gewollt, what Yaakov's desire was, as man soll was schneller areis von dem Galus. The Eden should see themselves getting out of Galus as quickly as possible. As with F. Shefel and Shleimus Aveda, true, if that would be the case, so then it would be lacking in the completion, in the ultimate perfection of their Aveda, that it's not their own, it's not that the schus is not something that's totally theirs. The Father wird me free areis von Galus. But as a result, they're going to leave Galus earlier. Or befrat von Erfasat, and especially from such a low place. And they'll enter into the ultimate and final redemption. This is the meaning of this word, bikish, that Yaakov desires, and Yaakov requests and wants to reveal the Ketz. What does it mean, bikish? Bikish usually means a request. It doesn't just mean a desire, but it means that he requests to reveal the Ketz to the Yidden. Yaakov had gebeten beim Eibishter. So this is a bakosha. Yaakov is begging the Eibishter. As soll sein der Gilead Ketz. Let's reveal the Ketz to the Yidden. Was das wird geben Yidden asuyua b'avedosam. And this will assist and give Yidden a help in their Aveda. Versichern as the Gula wird kommen schneller. And this will then guarantee that the Gula will actually come quicker by allowing to encourage Yidden and giving them this opening, this information, and showing them how it's in their hands that they can get themselves out of Golas quicker. That itself will change the whole attitude of Yidden, and they'll get out of Golas quicker. The Eibishter hat Rabbi gewollt. However, what did the Eibishter say? What did the Eibishter desire? As the Gula soll sein betachlis hashleimus, that the Gula should come in the most perfect and ultimate manner. Was das ist verbunden damit, was die Aveda von Yidden ist beschleimus. And this could only happen if Yidden's Aveda is done in the most perfect way, which is when it's done with their own motivation. In the darkness of Golis, when there's a Helem, when they don't know when it is that, well, they had the fixed time, when they knew Arba Mei Shana, but when they don't have the information that they can bring it before, and it's in their hands, so then it's with a completely different attitude. It's more Golistic. They're in a place on a time of Helem. Und der Rebbe nistalka mimene Shchine, so therefore the Shchine is removed, was es gibt an Ort für a größere Schleimus an Aveda Kanal. And this then brings the possibility for Yidden to serve the Eibishter in this time period in Golos on a much higher level, with a much greater shleimus when it comes from them, from below, on their own. That's the explanation for both why there is a tayelis in revealing the ketz, but at the same time, Eibusha says, no, there's a tayelis and also concealing the ketz and allowing Yidden to come to their shleimus and their avodah on their own. And then, to explain this on a deeper level, das was the shleimus agole kommt durch den. Was die Aveide von Eden is in a matzo von Chelek Shchina ubemele biegi satzmon kanal. This point that was explained. That the fact that when the Shchina is concealed, and then Yidden are going to serve the Eibishter with their own yigiyah, with their own work, with their own motivation. And there's a big mile to such a kind of Aveide. It's more of a zachu, it's a greater, deeper schus when Yidden serve the Eibishter on their own. It's a shleimus in their Aveide. Is this nit zu lieb a seite gescheiches von dem Eufen Aveide zu der Gula? This is not just a side point here regarding the fact that a schos brings the Gula. And this is yet an even greater schos when there's the schos that comes from a shleimus the Aveide, so this is a deeper schos, not just a side point. Nor weil dafke in der Aveide is tolui haketz von a zagul in nitzche shenach regalis. It's because it's this kind of Aveide which is deeper and which is coming from them on their own. It's the nature of this type of Aveda which actually causes a redemption to be everlasting and a real redemption. Why is that? In order for the redemption to be eternal, the redemption that was by Yitzias Mitzrayim was not eternal. And then the final Gula will be eternal. What's the difference? In order for it to be eternal, on Shinuyim, not being prone to any changes or falling back into exile, so the Yidden's Aveda which causes and brings the Gula has to be Zayin that is me'enze, on a similar level. And an Eifim from Loisha Nisi on Shinuyim, where Yidden are serving the Eibishter and are connected and are dedicated to the point where it's not prone to any changes. It's strong and very, very committed. So therefore, when Yidden serve the Eibishter, and it's all riding on the inspiration and on the assistance of above, and not by them motivating and working hard on their own, Demolt is nitoke nitzchis in their Aveda. So then, the nature of nitzchis doesn't exist in their own Aveda. This is not a kind of Aveda that's everlasting. When the siyum amayla is on the salad werden, because the moment the inspiration from above is concealed from them, can the radon werden ayered bi madrigasei, rachmanu litzlan. Then a person can fall from the level that he's on, and he'll lose everything he has. So this is not an Aveda which is stable and strong and eternal. When a Yid serves the Eibishter and he's working on his own, he's coming to it from below, from himself. Then this is a kind of Aveda. The Asrusa de Lasata is an Aveda that is lasting. Und der Fall bringt sie the Gula Kayemes Nitzchis Sheinach Re'agolos. And therefore, as a result, the Gula that comes out of this Aveda is also an everlasting Gula without any exile following. That's the point why you have to have dafke this kind of Aveda which is everlasting. Now, if so, based on this, the fact that the Eibishter desires that Yaakov should not reveal the Ketz is not just because the Eibishter says, well, there's a Maila in this as well, because there's a Shleimus in the Yidden not knowing the Ketz. But this is actually integral. This is critical for the nature of the Aveda to bring an eternal Geula. So now the question comes back on the opposite regarding what Yaakov's intention is. Why does he desire to reveal the Ketz to his children? By revealing the Ketz to them and giving them that kind of inspiration from above, and then they're riding at that inspiration. So it's not their own motivation from their own nature, from who they are naturally. So then this is a kind of Aveda that's not lasting, and it will not bring the Gula Amitis, a proper Gula. So what's Yaakov thinking? So we can explain this. Al derech Chassidus. According to Chassidus, we could say as follows. Says Yedua, it's well known as Madreges Yaakov. What was the level that Yaakov is on? Is Atzilus. Yaakov is in the world of Atzilus. Here, being in this world below, Yaakov is on the level of Atzilus. Now, what is Atzilus? Atzilus is the world where the unity of Hashem is fully revealed there, and which means he's in a place where everything is refined, everything is holy and bitter, pure. Since Yaakov Avinu has already come to that point where everything is pure and clear and holy, especially right before he passes away, when he came to the ultimate perfection in his Aveda. He did complete his Aveda on his level, from his own, 100%. And yes, it is his Aveda, Kav Shaloi, and not just an inspiration from above. By him, it is a kind of Aveda which is lasting and real. Is by him that even from Gilead Katz, Poel Nara Yisofa. So by Yaakov himself, to reveal this information is just going to add an extra, another Yisofa, another Gilead, another encouragement. Taisvis Shleimus Ba'avidase, a higher level in Avedis Hashem. To discuss this matter of the Ketz and Geula is just adding another dimension in Aveda. But really, Yaakov already came to the level of Shleimus, as far as Kav Shaloi is concerned. High time is so therefore, Yaakov gevot megalas and them Ketz oich labanov. Yaakov wanted to reveal the Ketz to his children as well. On them indik as oich banov zenen in der madrege, thinking that his children are on the same level as himself. Und wie die Gemara is mamshich, and as the Gemara there continues and says, as b'shes Yaakov, hadezen, as nestalka mimene shchina, that he wanted to reveal the Ketz, and he saw that the Shechina removed from him, and he couldn't, or not gekent megalas and the Ketz labanov, he couldn't reveal the Ketz to his children. So what was Yaakov's thought right after this? Why can't I reveal the Ketz? Hat gleich gesagt, Shema chas v'shalom yesh b'mitasi psul. Maybe my children, there's some kind of a psul in my children, and therefore they're not on my level, and I can't reveal the Ketz to them. So what do we see from what the Gemara says over here? That the basis of Yaakov deciding that he wants to, or desiring that he wants to reveal the Ketz, is because he thinks that his children are worthy of this. They're on his level. Which means not stam, like the Rebbe said in the beginning of the Sikha from the Mefarshim, that they're tzaddikim and they won't misuse the information. But he thought that they already came to the level that they're la'achrei habirur, and revealing the Ketz is not going to take away from the shleimus of their Aveda. Adarabah. It'll only be a taisvis. It'll add something more to their Aveda, not take away that it shouldn't be their own real, lasting, eternal Aveda. With this we can understand the two opinions quoted before in Sif Beis, the Ketz is euch von Yaakov nistem geworden oder nicht. When the Eibishter doesn't allow Yaakov to reveal the Ketz to his children, does that mean that Yaakov himself, the Eibishter, took away this revelation, this information from him himself, or not? The Medrash sagt, das neskaste nistem mimenu. The Medrash says that this was concealed from Yaakov himself, der Ketz. Weil der Eibishter hat gewollt, dass euch Yaakov soll demol der Herren die Meile von Aveda b'koyach atzmai. And the reason is because the Eibishter wanted at that point that Yaakov should come and sense and see and realize what the advantage there is in when a person does an Aveda purely with his own work and with his own motivation, without an inspiration of above that he's constantly connected to. Und damit anweisen Labanov die Meile in their Aveda, wenn sie wollen nicht wissen dem Ketz. And therefore Yaakov will have then the ability to educate and guide his children how they should stay strong and committed, even though they're going to be going through now a galus where they won't have a gili, they won't have this information, they won't have this encouragement. It's going to be darkness. So the Eibishter wants Yaakov to experience this himself at that moment, to be able to guide his children as well. That's what the Medrash says. Das Hashas is, however, according to the Gemara, as Nestalka Mimenu nor Shechina. The Shechina was removed from Yaakov. Onita Ketz. As explained before, the diak of this Lashon Shechina means that Yaakov, the Gili of the Ketz, was not removed from Yaakov himself. Vibalt as by Yaakov Alein. Is showing given the Shleimus V'ilui. By Yaakov himself, he already had the Shleimus of this Maila of doing the Aveda B'Koyach Atzmai. Was hat sich aufgetan by Banov Durich Stimus HaKetz, which is accomplished later by his children, when they're in Galus and they don't know the Ketz and they're forced to serve the Eibishter with their own motivation from below in a place and a time of darkness. Yaakov Avinu himself already had this shleimus. So therefore, it wasn't necessary to take away this gili from Yaakov Avinu, but only not to share it to his children so they could come also to this shleimus as well. Okay, so now this is the deeper explanation for why Yaakov Avinu desired to reveal it, the way he viewed his children, the way he thought they were on his level. Yaakov, being in Atzilus and viewing his children on that same level, wanted to reveal it, and why the Eibishter said, no, we need the shleimus of the Avodah, which is integral. It's not just a side point, but this is the main thing that brings everlasting Gola. So now here the Rebbe continues and says, now it seems like that Yaakov's desire was just a desire. But in fact, in reality, it never happened, it never materialized. But Afalpi, as the Eibishter gefiert, as Yaakov soll nit megal sein im Ketz Labana. Even though the Eibishter led to this, that Yaakov should not be able to reveal the Ketz to his children. Aber von dem was bikish Yaakov legal es chulu. From the very fact that Yaakov desires to reveal the Ketz, Zayin dega merkava l'ratzon ha'elyon, as Kanal Siv Gimel, as mentioned before, the desire that Yaakov has is not just his desire. It's an expression of his bittul to the Eibishter, of the Eibishter's desire that comes through him. It's verstandig, so it's understood as their bikish legalis keitza yomin. This desire to reveal the end of time is euch demold given behessen zum ratzon ha'elyon. Even then, at that point, when he desires it, is also fitting to what the Eibishter wants. In other words, according to what we said, the explanation over here up until this point is that yes, there is a tayelis in the Bikish Yaakov, that Yaakov wants to reveal the Ketz, whether to bring the Gula quicker, or in that Yaakov sees his children on his own level, so he thinks that for them it's going to bring just a taisvis in their Avodah. But in the end of the day, though, the Bikish itself was misplaced because his children are not on his level, and therefore it's necessary to keep this as behelim, concealed, so his children should serve the Eibishter on a different level, in Chayshech, in the Galus, which will be deeper. But no, here the Rebbe goes a step further. We have to say that the Bikish, the very desire, at that point when Yaakov wanted to do this, the Bikish is also an expression that comes from what the Eibishter wants. And this is what Behesel Tzaratzon Elyon. Und noch mehr, furthermore, wie bald as a bakoshe von a tzaddik is sicher eine chezeres rekam, a desire of a tzaddik most definitely does not return empty. Hat es sicher gehat a po'ule dolle mate. It definitely had an effect here below in this world as well. And so is void. At this point, and even more so. Wie bald as es eingestellt geworden in Teire, since this is something which is written in Teire, Melashon Eira, which is a lesson, is a Saira, Nitzchis L'chol HaDeiris. There's an everlasting lesson over here in this desire itself, that Yaakov desires to reveal the Ketz. There's something everlasting, a lesson that we could take out of this desire itself. Und al derech wie wir gefunden bei Moshe Rabbeinu, this is similar to what we find regarding Moshe as Afapi. As Afapi sein Bakoshe, Ves Chanegome, Ve'ebrona, Ve'eregome. So over there, Moshe Rabbeinu's desire that he begged Hashem to go and to see the land and be in Eretz Yisrael, Oivtziton, by Yidin Ri'in Elokos. So it's explained that what Moshe Rabbeinu really wanted was to bring Yidden to the level that he's on, to bring Yidden to the level that they should see godliness in an open way, the way he sees. Is nite filled geworden. So his desire and this tefillah of Moshe Rabbeinu was not fulfilled. Weil Yidden damals seinen gewähn roi nor zu beginnen Shmiya. Because at that time Yidden were only fit for the level of Shmiya. Vati Yisrael Shma. That Yidden can hear and listen to connect to the Eibishter only on the level of hearing, which is from a distance, not as direct and close as seeing. Von deswegen, nevertheless, hat sein Bakosha aufgetan, Moshe Rabbeinu's request did accomplish, as by Yidden, soll sein der Inyan Ariyah b'pchinas makef al kaponim. That the Yidden do have this power of Riyah to see godliness, at least in a makefdige manner, even if not internally and real and deep, but nevertheless, in a makefdige manner, it is available to some extent. Und bei Yechidis Gula, euch b'pchinas pnimius. And there are a few of special individuals on a high level, Brik Tzadikim, that they did receive this kayach of Riyah from Moshe Rabbeinu. So we see by Moshe Rabbeinu, when his tefillah, his wish wasn't granted, but nevertheless, the tefillah itself did have an effect. And the same we could say also here regarding the bakosha of Yaakov, that the bakosha is something which is the ratzon of the Eibishter and has an everlasting effect. Das was bikish, legalis is a ketz. The fact that Yaakov wants to reveal the ketz, hat aufgetan bei Yidin, as is on kennen der Griechen zu Gilei ketz b'derech makif. This information of the Ketz, which contains within it a tremendous godly revelation and encouragement, Yidden can access and use the inspiration from this Gilead Ketz, even if not on a real deep and personal level, but at least b'derech makif, on some degree Yidden can connect to this. Avedas Hashem and anayfim from Cheirus, Mi'umis Ha'olam, U'Ma'yetze Hara. which means that even while we are in Golus, in a place of darkness, but yet a Yid could in Golus serve the Eibishter with a sense of freedom, be free from the Yetzer Hara, free from any obstacles, and serve the Eibishter on a higher level, to be inspired. Und bei Yechidus Gula, euch bepnimius. And by certain great tzaddikim, they are in Golus, but yet they're connected to Gula, they're connected to the Ketz, which is this tremendous inspiration that comes from the Bikish of Yaakov Avinu, that has an everlasting effect. V'yeshleima, we could say another point regarding Yechidus Gula, as das is was common with Gedolei Yisrael. We find that there were great, the Gedolei Yisrael from previous generations, Vidar Asag, Rambam, V'chulu, Rabbi Yagoin, Rambam, and others, they made calculations and spoke about the cats because they did get this koyach from Yaakov Avinu, from the Bikish Yaakov, even though the Helem on a whole at large remains concealed from Yidden, and we don't have this Gilead, and our Aveda primarily is serving the Eibishter in a time of darkness and Golus, and that's a deeper Aveda which will bring the Gola. But on the other hand, though, the inspiration of the cats is also something which is here, which is necessary, and which we can use even today, but derech makiv and by Yechidus Gula, even b'pnimius. So what do we take from this? The Rebbe concludes over here, and the fun is Eich HaHira for all Yidden l'chol hadayros. From this is the lesson for all Yidden in all generations. As es darf sein der Inyan from Bikish legalis Keitz HaYamin. That while, yes, it's true what the point said before, that the Eibishter wants that it should be concealed and should be Aveda Dafka and Golus, but yet the main lesson we have to take here is from the Bikish, from the desire of Yaakov Avinu to reveal the Ketz. This is something that we have to also apply on all generations, which means as follows: a Yid dar velen beten as es soll sein Gilead Ketz. Every Yid has to want and desire and beg that there should be the revelation of the Ketz. Was da is Gufe, Habakoshe, und die Hisbeinus bezeh, to desire and to beg that the time of the Ketz should come, and to contemplate and to think about this. Git as siyua v'idud rav and avedus Hashem. To focus on the fact that we're working towards the Gula. The point over here, as the Rebbe explained before, the whole Bikish Yaakov Legalis Saketz is to inspire Yidden to realize that we're coming towards the Gula, and it's our Zuchusim that is bringing it closer, and it's about to come. That attitude and that is Bainus, focusing on this, gives a tremendous encouragement in Avedus Hashem. V'mezed b'mochesh, as we see clearly, as v'mezok ta'yidin, as ot dot kut Mashiach. When you let a Yid know that Mashiach is about to come, we want Mashiach now, is the way that Rabbi used to pronounce it. We want Mashiach now, to tell Yidden to scream and beg and be focused on this, that we want and we desire Mashiach to come immediately, is the spoil as zirus v'yisafe and Avedus Hashem. This brings a tremendous encouragement and to add more in our Avedus Hashem. Und as Hiris Yisere, and to be more careful, Yoiser, as soll nicht sein ken in von Shami Yigrim Chulu, that to be careful that there shouldn't be anything, any obstacles, any Aveda that should get mixed into this. Was soll chas v'sholem verhalten bias Mashiach, that should God forbid hold back the coming of Mashiach. And in our times, there's another thing that comes that's added to this. The Torah says, this is the Gemara tells us, Kolu Kola Kitzin, that all the various different Kitzin, the times, the set times for Mashiach to come are already behind us. And now all depends on is us to do tshuva. The Gemara sagt, B'pshitis, as the Ketz is schon von lang da, that the time, the set time for Mashiach to come is already long past. And all we need is the expression of the Zohar regarding Tshuva, which means Shaita Chada, which literally means one moment. But the Rebbe translates the word Shaita as dem ker, to make that turn from Tshuva, to repent, to do Tshuva, to return to the Eibishter. Was bringt miyad heine golen in the Lashon of the Rambam, which brings the immediately to be redeemed, miyad mamish, literally immediately, now, b'agola didan. Now, in the way we interpret now, which means literally now.